The final section, we're gonna have a little kind of community chat, community panel here. We have joining us this evening, Mary and Maddie Tolmie. Um, so Maddie has a bunch of different kind of work and volunteer experience, so can kind of talk from the job seeker side of things, and as well as Mary from a caregiver perspective. And we also have, I believe, Ellen, who is from Melly's Market and Cafe in Whitby. Let's start with you, Mary and Maddie, and if anyone has any kind of questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And but yeah, why don't you guys just introduce yourself and share a little bit with the room?
There. All right. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew. People call me Maddie or Matt Dog. I am 36 years old with Down syndrome, living in Windsor, Ontario. I am going to talk to you about what it is like working in my community. These are my paid jobs as an assistant to a assistant in a physiotherapy clinic, 4 hour shift per week for the last 17 years. Merchandiser at a Shoppers Drug Mart, 1 4 hour shift per week for the last 16 years. A caretaker at an arena for the city of Windsor. 2 6.5 hours, 2 6.5 hour shifts per week for the last 13 years. I volunteer as an altar server at my church since I was 10 years old. I volunteer twice per week as a dressing room assistant with the Ontario Hockey League. Windsor Spitfires Hockey Club for the last 16 years, getting my jobs. I am very social, talkative, and not afraid to give a nice gesture give a handshake. I stay active and get to know people, and they get to know me. I first started volunteering. I did many co-op placements in high school. I show people that I am kind, caring, and I ask family members and friends to help me to get a job, and if they know anyone who own a business. I went to the unemployment center in Windsor and did 2 paid jobs through the government. Okay, here I go. Volunteering was very helpful to put on my resume, even though I didn't stay working at the government program jobs. I didn't give up and put them on my resume. And I I put my co-op jobs on my resume. I wasn't afraid to list all my positive qualities. I always ask 3 different people, including previous bosses, teachers, and friends, to be referenced. I kept my resume updated. I list courses. I looked about having a job interview. I went to the interview as a nicely dressed, groomed well. I brought my mom with me so she could add anything I might have forgotten. I told them I could have a job coach. Tips about working. I believe in I believe in myself. My mom was a big supporter to help me get jobs. I am on time. I know that working at jobs in my life is a priority and not just having fun with friends. I try to eat healthy, packing a healthy lunch snack so I don't get sick. I was taught to how to take a bus or call for a cab. The last bit I'm going to share about is this. I work well with my team. I did use a job coach in the beginning. I like to follow tasks. So I ask my bosses to make a list. I have meetings with my bosses and mom to make sure things were going well when necessary, which is not often anymore. I talk to my boss if someone is making fun of me or doing things on my list. I think working at different jobs keeps my brain active. I get to know more people. Working different jobs keeps me on my toes. My favorite job is working with the Windsor Spitfire. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Maddie. And I think that you made a lot of great points. You mentioned some of those soft skills that Ingrid was talking about earlier and touched on the importance of volunteering and building up your resume and, reaching out to your network of people to try to find jobs. So some really, really great tips in there from your experience. Mary, do you have anything to add?
I think that advocating and having your child with you, your adult child with you, during this advocacy part is important, because then they start to learn how to do that for themselves too, and to talk for themselves and bring up themselves, to know that they're human like us, and they can introduce themselves and tell them all their good qualities rather than us speaking for them all the time. And then definitely having meetings in the beginning, maybe every you know, you would set the time frame. I did it every 3 months to make sure that we were snapping anything that was just starting to be maybe an issue, to catch it in the, before it grew into any type of mountain. So that was really important. And now that he's had these jobs for so long, we just don't need those meetings anymore. The government paid jobs that did give money to the employer. They were helpful. However, I found that after the 6-month program was done, neither one of them kept him on. And that was very unfortunate. One was Eastside Barrios and one was Wendy's. And I was very disappointed in that. I did find that they really wanted, they didn't really accommodate because they wanted Matthew to be able to do cash, which he can't, when it was slow in their restaurant. So restaurant working, although he loves cooking, he's just not been the place for him. So unfortunately, we couldn't seek that out as much as he had wanted to. But the co-op programs in high school really helped, and to keep those on your resume. And this HR department in the city of Windsor, I have to say that they took on what Sarnia, Ontario has been doing for quite some time now. And I started back in 2011 talking to a person in HR for the city and saying, what can you do? I mean, my son now is out of high school, and, an occupational therapist told me when he was 2 years old that it's like jumping off the cliff, at 21 when there's no schooling left. Now what do you do? So I always knew that in the back of my mind, even though that was 34 years ago. He's 36 now, but I kept that going to say, okay, what do I need to do? So nobody was calling us. So I called HR, and they worked with their unions. And I think more cities are opening up to working with union jobs that are really going to need to accommodate people that have different disabilities. And Matthew was actually offered a full-time job with them after 8 years of working, but he decided to turn it down. And I think he said that at the end it was important for him to keep a variety of jobs, to keep knowing people in his community. He would have had to give up, his volunteer job with the Windsor Spitfires. He would have had to give up his job with the physiotherapy clinic and with Shoppers. And this way he gets a combination. Yes, he probably could have made more money. He would have had a better pension at time of retirement. But I just think and he has time still to then on Tuesdays and Thursdays go out with friends. So although it seems like a lot of jobs, it is, but they're 4-hour shifts, or they're 6.5-hour shifts. So the only job, it's funny that the Windsor Spitfires, it's not like the NHL, it's the OHL. So although he puts a lot of hours in with them, it's a position that they would never pay anybody to do. So I'm glad that he's glad that he has it. And he said, it's just a hockey world. That's the way business is, Mom, don't worry about it. So, I mean, I've come to the point where people saying, aren't they taking advantage of him? They're kind of taking advantage of him. He works so long there for them, but you love it. He said it's his favorite job. So I just keep it going with the volunteering for that. But yeah, so that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. I know we're running a little bit over time here. We really jam-packed because we had so many great guests that we wanted to share perspectives with this evening. But just if you are able to stay, there's just one more person we want to hear from, which is Ellen from Melly's Market and Cafe in Whitby. Just to give a little bit of perspective, they run a program that she'll tell a little bit about, and she might be able to offer a little bit of insight on things that potential employers might be looking for.
Hi, and thanks for inviting us. We feel very privileged to be here. I just want to give a big congratulations to Matt. Everything he does and is doing is everything that I was going to say. So I don't really need to say anything because he's a remarkable young man that's doing so much, and just his whole attitude is unbelievable. So I would say just do what he's doing, get that experience, that variety of experience, and going out and, like his mom was saying, going out with him to advocate for him to see how important he is. I think that is such a key piece right there for them to feel like they're just as important as us. And that's what we do at Melly's too. We want them to understand that you have a right in this world, just like everyone else, to be part of the world, to be part of life, and not just sitting at home being lonely and depressed without anything to do. So that's really all we can say. And just Matt, you're amazing. Way to go. That's all I have to say, really. I can't add any more to it. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Ellen. And
Okay.
again, that's Melly's is located in Whitby. So if anyone is in the Durham area, check out their website. They run an amazing program for adults with
Yeah.
intellectual disabilities, and I've sampled some of their coffee and baked goods too, and they make some pretty delicious treats as well.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I should just add quickly that everything that Matt is doing is what we do at Melly's at the training program. Very much that's the beginning phase of it, getting all those skills down pat, and then getting the confidence to go out and get that job.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what he did.
Mhm.
awesome.
I
Thank you
think-
so much.
I
Sorry,
think
go ahead,
I
Mary.
really have to push calling your city, whatever city you live in, calling the HR department, because I think that they're finally opening up to hiring people that need accommodations, and the unions. I know in the city of Windsor, a lot of departments are run by unions there, and he works for Parks and Rec, and they have just been so wonderful to turn things around. I mean, nobody else has a 6.5 hour shift, but he does, because 8 hours is just too long for him. It's just too long. So that's why these shorter shifts are better for him, to keep his attention and his focus. So yeah, I just decided one day to call them, and then didn't realize Sarnia, Ontario was, thriving in that. So I hope people take advantage of calling them, and
Yeah. That's
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you all
Yeah.
so much. We had some really great insights from everyone tonight, and thank you to everyone who was able to join us.